Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode of Season 2 of the Coffin Corner Podcast. I'm your host, GoodNightPunk, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Richie. Richie, what's going on?
Not too much. First week of the fantasy football playoffs.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know anything about that, so... I lost in every league I needed to win in to make the playoffs, and so I am just completely in the lurch. I mean, I have buys. In 2 or 3 leagues. That is how bad my team was. Buys in the crap.
Toilet bowl buys.
Yeah.
The worst kind.
Yes, exactly. So I just do not give a crap what happens in fantasy football today. The only thing I'm focused on at this point, right, in the other keeper league that I'm in on Sleeper, the first year of it, I won the toilet bowl. The second year, I won the championship. The third year, I won the championship. This year, I'm not in the playoffs, of course, but I can win the toilet bowl, which would mean I still got a championship in every year that league's been around. So I am going hard after that toilet bowl championship.
Nice.
I'm saying.
Hey, something to play for.
That's right. The toilet bowl sandwich. 2 championships sandwiched by toilet bowl wins. That's what I'll do. So, not to mention the toilet bowl champion gets the number 1 pick. So.
Oh, really? See, that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like
give you some extra incentive
to keep playing after you miss the playoffs. Don't drop your players in a fit of rage. So, well, you might notice we're here a little bit on a different night tonight, this week on a Friday, which is kind of crazy because it's the only day between Thursday and Sunday that does not have a football game in it this week. So we are sandwiching after Thursday night's game, moving into the 3 Saturday games and then Sunday. So it'll be interesting. I love the end of the season when they do this with the Saturday games because it just makes the entire weekend football for me. And I love it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's funny. During the week, Thursday night games are, I don't know, they're not the most exciting games usually besides last night's. But I love having Saturday and Sunday football.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's because the college football season's ended, right? That's when they take over Saturday.
Right.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, give you a reason to still want to watch football on Saturday and still have some football to watch on Saturday.
Yeah. Because even if there were bowls, nobody really wants to watch them with all the NFL hopefuls sitting out of bowl games these days. So, yay, super exciting bowl games.
I know it really I like that you get us highlight some lesser seen like colleges when they have bowls like this. Like if you look at the list of like colleges like Bowling Green and stuff like that. So it's like kind of cool, but I don't know any of the players and I don't know.
Yeah.
I like having them on in the background. It's not bowls I like sit down and watch like the real bowls.
It's just scouting for me when NCAA comes out for which teams I want to turn into powerhouses.
That's very true. Which 1-star college are you going to pick up?
Exactly, because that's what I'm doing when that game comes out. Picking one of the worst colleges and taking them to the top.
I really hope they have an in-depth like Dynasty mode. 'Cause you used to be able to upgrade like your training facilities and your stadium and everything. Mm-hmm. It'd be really cool, but I mean, even if not, as long as the recruiting is like involved, then I'm happy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree. Well, we're going to start off this week with a top 5 as we normally do. Only this time we're not going to do it the way we normally do. We're going to be making a top 5 this week by talking about all of the fringe middle of the road record playoff teams and whether they are pretenders or we actually think they're legit teams that could make a run in the playoffs. And we're going to come up with 5 from this giant list I made. I don't think that's 10. It's probably more like 15. We're going to pick five.
That is quite a bit of...
There are a lot of teams in the playoff hunt right now. I did not realize just how freaking many there are. And most of these teams are a game under 500. Like they're not even like winning record teams. That is how bad the middle of the NFL is right now.
If I remember correctly, I thought I saw a stat where it said it's the most teams still in the playoff hunt this late into a season ever. Because realistically, I think the only teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs are Carolina and New England.
Yeah, I would say the Patriots were one, and then Carolina. So that's it.
So there's still a lot that could happen.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me to see that the Giants are still in a playoff hunt.
The Commanders.
It's just crazy. We'll start off with the NFC, and we'll start with the worst division in football, the NFC South. Well, so we'll start with the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are currently the leaders of the NFC South. They are. I meant to bring up their records here because
they're like 6-9 or 6-8.
Yeah, so
6-7.
They are ahead. Bucks are in the lead in their division in the NFC South with a 6-7 record. Both the Falcons and the Saints also have a 6-7 record. So there we go.
Basically, which one of these teams is winning the division? Because the other two, no one's going to make it besides the winner of that division.
You would think. You would hope.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. My vote would have to be the Falcons, just because they've been a lot better than I expected. I don't know. The Bucks do have a lot of talent on them. It just depends on how Baker Mayfield plays the rest of the year.
It's funny because I feel like the most consistent team, and it's hard to say that with a 6-7 team. I think the most consistent team it seems like the Buccaneers. The Saints, though, are the only team with a positive run differential or point differential.
The Saints, wow.
They have a plus 24. Falcons are minus 18. Buccaneers are minus 8. So conventionally thinking, the Saints have been scoring a lot more than opponents. You'd think they'd be the best team. But in my mind, the best team in that division is the Bucks. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't vote for the Saints. I'll tell you that much right now. Derek Carr looks like ass most of the time, so I can't vote for the Saints. I could see the Bucks or I'll give it to the Bucks though, because the Falcons probably should win the division, but Arthur Smith is an idiot, so they won't.
Yeah, they keep like benching Bijan Robinson for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're just gonna piss away a bunch of talented players, but yeah, I'll give it to the Bucks. They'll win that division.
So, if either of those Falcons or the Saints were considered to be okay, let's just say this: do you consider the Falcons or the Saints to be playoff teams?
No,
either one of them. No, neither of them.
Not if the Falcons don't win the division. The Saints are not a playoff team at all in my mind, and it would just come down to the Bucks or Falcons winning the division. I'll give it to the Bucks, but because the Falcons would have to basically win out to make the division, and if they do that, they play the Saints. Like if the Falcons win out, they'll win the division. The Bucks, see their schedule. Bucks play the Jags. That's a tough game. Packers. Yeah. I can only pick one team from that division, so I'll go with the Bucks.
All right, so we're starting off with two strong contenders for the top 5 playoff pretenders. We'll move into one that I think we can easily say, despite the record being 7-6, that are not playoff pretenders because they have a lot of talent on their team. The only problem they currently have is switching quarterbacks to Nick Mullins from Josh Dobbs, or that's the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think that they're a playoff pretender. I think that if they were to make the playoffs, there is a chance that they could win a game in the playoffs. Do you agree with that?
I don't know what Nick Mullins or the rookie Jaron Hall can do. So I don't know. I can't agree with that without knowing what their quarterback situation is now that they've benched. Not only do they bench Josh Dobbs, they send him to third string.
Yeah.
Like they Zach Wilsoned him. But yeah.
All right.
No,
Well, let me say comparatively to the Falcons and Saints, I wouldn't put them as a pretender.
The Vikings?
Yeah. Do you think the Vikings are as bad as the Saints and Falcons?
With Nick Mullins at quarterback? Probably. I don't know. I don't know what he's got. I don't know what he's going to look like. But
all right, we'll see. Do you want me to
they
highlight
also
them
play
too?
the Lions twice, which the Lions should beat them twice. So
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of names on the list. I'll leave them off for now. Packers, Green Bay Packers.
here's the problem with the Packers is they did beat the Chiefs and looked good doing it. So I can't call them a playoff contender, unfortunately, as much as I want to.
Well, yeah, they did beat the Chiefs. They beat the Lions.
That's true.
They beat the Rams. Like, they beat some decent teams, and on top of that, they're kind of on a streak right now. They did happen to lose to the Giants 24-22 last week, but
Because of Tommy DeVito, eh?
yeah. But Jordan Love has kind
I
of
can do
come
that in
on.
Italian.
The Jordan Love's kind of come on here in the last few weeks, and he's playing really well. And somehow they're finding random, just like Aaron Rodgers did last year. He's finding random receivers and turning them into crazy good players right now. So I'd like to see what they do against the Bucs tomorrow to see like where they actually fall. But right now, I'm with you. I don't think I could call them. I would put them ahead of the Vikings as far as complete team right now.
Yes.
For the playoffs.
I think the Packers will finish ahead of the Vikings in the division, which means that I think the Packers have a chance at making the playoffs. I don't see the Vikings. Like I said, unless Nick Mullins comes out there and shocks everybody,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Luckily for them with Nick Mullins, it's not like starting Tim Boyle and I already know what's going to happen. Or like Brian Hoyer for the Raiders, you know. So next up, you've got the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think this is even a question of whether they're playoff pretenders or not. I don't think they are in any sense. I think their record kind of masks the fact of how good the team is. They're 6-7 right now, and they've played a really tough schedule and played really well. So
and they've dealt with a lot of injuries too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But the losses against good teams have been close. So, yeah, they lost to Cincinnati 19-16. They lost to San Francisco 30-23. They lost to Baltimore 37-31. Like, they're having a good year. Now they're playing Washington, New Orleans, the Giants, and then San Francisco one more time. So let's say they get 3-1. That brings their record to 9-8.
Yeah,
so
that's good enough for a wild card.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens, but they're definitely not.
Yeah, absolutely.
More interesting team for that question is the Seattle Seahawks, who were good at the beginning of the year and just kind of faded towards the end of the year. Same record as the Rams, but on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, and the Seahawks also, I don't think they're as talented as the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tougher schedule. They get Philly on Sunday or Monday night actually, and then they play the Steelers in 2 weeks. So I think Seattle is a pretender in my opinion, and really like the two wild cards in the NFC will come down to Los Angeles and then, in my opinion, Green Bay, maybe Minnesota.
Understandable. Well, that covers the NFC for us, so I want to point out what the actual standings are right now. Your playoff teams outside of the division leaders, and I didn't even put a lot, besides the NFC South, I didn't put the other division leaders in there, like the Lions, even though I really wanted to ask if they were pretenders or not, because currently I think they are. But the they're so far ahead currently that it's not a big deal. So, but going into the wild cards, you've got Philly at 10-3, lock, no pretender there. The Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, and the Rams are file out the current wild cards, with the Seahawks, Falcons, Saints right behind them at 6 and 7. So it is going to be interesting ending for the NFC to see where these teams will end up.
Yeah, it's still, I mean, there's path to the playoffs for, I mean, like I said, the Commanders, the Giants, the Bears, they all technically, mathematically have the chance to make I think even the Cardinals are technically still alive.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's going to come down to one of those teams: the Vikings, Packers, Rams, Seahawks, sure, for the other 2 wild card spots, because Dallas or Philly is going to win the NFC East, and the other one's the number 4 seed. So.
All right, out of those teams, this is not part of the top 5, but out of those teams that are all fighting for the wild cards, except for the 5th wild card or 1st wild card, because the Eagles are going to get it.
Yeah.
What 3 teams would you want to see in the playoffs? Like you think would be fun to watch in the playoffs?
Definitely the Rams. Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Like, I'd love to see them in. Gosh. I'll say Vikings, because I just fucking hate the Packers and I don't want them in the playoffs. But I don't think the Vikings would be very entertaining in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll still be
not
without
with Nick
Kirk
Mullins
Cousins
at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like these playoffs, like besides Detroit, and I guess Tampa Bay, because I do like Baker Mayfield. And the Rams because of Stafford, and they've got a bunch of players that have carried me in fantasy this year, so I respect that. But like the Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers, Packers, Seahawks, Vikings, like I don't like any of those teams. I don't.
Same old shit, as they say.
Yeah, so boring. But
it's like, yeah, if the Falcons could find a way, if Falcons and Saints could find a way to win a few games and push out teams like the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Vikings, I would, even though they're bad, they would be more entertaining to watch than the other ones to me, because it's something different.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Falcons sneak in as the 7th seed. I mean, they'd have to go to San Francisco and get destroyed probably, but it would be, different. Then we're probably going to end up with Green Bay at San Francisco.
See, after what the Jets did last week, I'm not going to count anybody out.
Yeah, that's fair. But I got a question for you then, just because I'm curious. So the Lions, they're going to be the 3 seed. So they would play the 6th seed. Who do you want to see them host in the first round? Because they'd either be hosting Minnesota, Green Bay, or Seattle. So which one would you want them to play?
I would like to see them. Well, first off, not Seattle, because every time we've played Seattle, it's been a boat race and they've beat us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They played earlier this year.
I don't want to play the Vikings. Well, I would rather play the Vikings because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I would actually think it would be fun to play the Packers again in the rubber game match, because we beat them in Lambeau, they beat us at home, and to if we were able to play them and beat them in the playoffs, that would just be another thing for me to stick to Packers fans. So
yeah,
so
that
I'd
would
say
be pretty awesome. On the
say,
flip side, it would be extra heartbreaking for the Packers to come into Detroit again and beat them. Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah, that little extra knife in the back.
That
I was just curious.
Yeah. Let's go with moving to the AFC. First team I've got is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Playoff.
So the injury to Trevor Lawrence doesn't seem to be as bad as it looked.
He played last week, right?
Yeah, I mean, he looked
well.
like shit. I think he had like 3 interceptions.
That's not well.
But I'm gonna say not a pretender. I think they can win that division, or at the very least get a wild card. They've got 8 wins already. They're almost there.
Yeah, if I compare them to the other people in their division, well, see, I still can't even really do that. I think that division is stacked. And I honestly think the Colts and Texans are better than the Jaguars, despite the record.
I think the Texans definitely have an argument to be made. The Colts have played better than anybody thought, but I don't think they're better than the Jaguars.
Well, they are playing. How did they played the Jaguars straight up? They did. They lost and they lost. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, since we have all three of them stacked up together again, like we did for the other South, because the Souths are just filled with mediocre teams apparently. I would say of those three that the Colts are the pretenders.
Yes. Love what Gardner Minshew has done, but out of those three, that's the team that. But Jonathan Taylor's missing time. Like they're not making the playoffs.
No, but I will say that next year they're definitely going to be a team to watch out for, because Anthony Richardson with Jonathan Taylor, who they did not get to play together this year, but look at what the Colts have done. Those two together with the young receivers of Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, they're a team to look out for.
Yeah, they should be really fun next year. And then the Texans, they've got a lot of talent too. I mean, losing Tank Dell sucks. CJ Stroud, questionable this Sunday, so it's a rough time for them, but give them another season to load up more talent, and I think I think they're going to be really good next year too. The Jaguars' time at the top of that division is very limited.
Which has always been very limited because they have not been that good recently.
Yeah,
they've just been better than the other ones.
Yep.
I mean, they've got to be shivering seeing the Colts become good again and the Texans, who have never really been good, becoming good. And somehow
they had Deshaun Watson.
Well, maybe for a season. And then the Titans are still in that division, and the Titans have owned that division forever. So seeing them at the bottom, it's just a crazy division for going forward. Titans look the worst out of all of them. They're about to lose. They're going to lose Derrick Henry eventually, and
I think this year is the is his final year. I have to imagine.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, you've got the Denver Broncos, who are 7-6. The winning record. They've been streaking. Like they've won. What is that? 6 of their last 7. With a heartbreaking interception in the end zone to lose to the Texans for that one loss. So, I mean, they are just going crazy. I don't think I could put them, as much as I would like to put them in the pretender section, since they started out 1-5. I think they're actually surging, and if they make the playoffs, they might have something going on there.
Yeah, and they have a pretty easy schedule. They've got the Lions. Is that tomorrow? Tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
That's a tough game. But then after that, they've got the Patriots, Chargers, and Raiders. So yeah, the Broncos definitely could finish 10-7, and that's good enough for a wild card, definitely.
Yep, absolutely. So moving on to the next step, we've got I put the Las Vegas Raiders in here because after their win yesterday, they are 6-8 and looking like they have a chance. They just got to win a few more games, and they should be right there in the mix. Or they are in the mix right now at 6-8. So,
yeah, that was a good win for them. I mean, obviously, huge statistic, put up a bunch of points. Like Aiden O'Connell flashing in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
I personally just don't see them running the table to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they would definitely need to. And they play Kansas City, Indianapolis, and Denver.
Yeah.
That's their last 3. So I would say that they're probably, I would list them as a playoff pretender, but I don't even know if they ever were pretending to be a playoff team. They just had a crazy good win last night.
Yeah, they ever since they fired Josh McDaniels, they definitely looked better. But I
think they're 4-3 now, 4-3 under Antonio Pierce.
Yep.
Next up, you got the Cleveland Browns, who are 8-5. Quarterbacked by Super Bowl winning quarterback Joe Flacco for the rest of the season.
I mean, it's so weird that Joe Flacco just coming in off the street has looked good.
Especially since he played for the Jets last year and did not look good.
I think he had one big game with the Jets last year against the Ravens, but like that was it. But yeah, I mean, I can't call them pretenders. They're 8-5. They Flacco keeps playing like that, they'll win a few more games, and that's all they need to do. They've got a great defense.
Yep. I think that defense carries them enough to be a decent playoff team. Because all they need is the offense to score a few points in the game if the defense can just hold them out. So, then that'll bring us to the next team, the one right below them at 7-6, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are just, I want to say they're in free fall, but they're 3-3 in their last 3 games. It just feels like they're in free fall.
Yeah, they, I mean, I don't know. The Steelers are just they win games because Mike Tomlin's a good coach and their defense is good, but I can't say that a Mitch Trubisky-led team is going to make the playoffs. To me, they're a pretender. And even if when Kenny Pickett comes back, they're still a pretender, in my opinion.
I'm with you, and I would like to make a bold prediction here. This is the first season that Mike Tomlin will have a losing record. They're 7-6 right now. Their final 4 games: Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Seattle, and Baltimore. I don't think
they're 2 games to finish above 500.
Mm-hmm. So even if they beat Indianapolis, really, I don't think they're going to beat Cincinnati. They're not going to win in Seattle or at Baltimore.
Yeah, that's the only one. The only one besides Indy that they have a chance in is Seattle. Boy, yeah, that's a shame.
That stinks for them. But I mean, what a run by Mike Tomlin.
He's had a great career.
Feels like
you know, it's funny because
forever.
on the radio they talk about like, oh, they should fire Mike Tomlin. It's like, because he has this 1 year where he maybe finishes a game out of 500.
Listen, if if John Harbaugh can keep his job as long as he with having losing seasons here and there, I think that Mike Tomlin will be okay. Because John Harbaugh's won 1 Super Bowl that I can remember. Mike Tomlin's won multiple. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they will, but you know.
We're talking about the Steelers, and then we got the Bengals that are underneath the Steelers at 7-6, same record as the Steelers. But the Bengals look good with Jake Browning. Even if Joe Burrow's out, Jake Browning has been playing really well, and I would rank the Bengals over those Steelers.
I would too. Jake Browning is he's doing exactly what he needs to do, which is just get the ball to Jamar Chase. Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to sneak in as a wild card.
I'm with you. I agree. And then the last one here, we got the Buffalo Bills at 7-6. Right in the mix with the rest of these teams, Buffalo Bills. I think they are a very good team that has just decided to figure out ways to lose games.
Yeah, they've lost some heartbreaking games.
Mm-hmm. They have it seems like they've had the toughest schedule in the NFL. It seems like they're always in primetime and they're always playing a division-leading team.
Yeah.
When I see them play.
They lost 2 of their biggest losses to the Jets week 1 and then the Patriots. I mean, those 2 losses are the ones that hurt the most.
Yeah.
I think the Bills, even though they played Dallas, but then they play the Chargers, the Patriots, and then the Dolphins, who should be resting everybody in the final week of the season. So I think the Bills make the playoffs.
Yep, I agree. And the funniest part about that is the way we started off highlighting these teams for this top 5, I thought we'd have an ass ton. But we actually have 5. So
nice.
Our top 5 playoff pretenders currently of people that are eligible and fighting for a playoff spot, we've got the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints, the Seattle Seahawks, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Didn't we also have the Raiders as pretenders?
Well, we said that. Well, we considered them pretenders, but like I had said, I don't think they ever were really in the.
Oh, that's right.
In the playoff hunt to be pretenders, so we didn't put them, but put them on honorable mention. Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, honorable mention.
So
I mean, technically, we could throw every like the Jets and the Commanders and Bears on that list because they're still in the hunt, as ESPN likes to show.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're really not.
Like winning out,
yeah,
which they have not.
Winning out
they
and
can
other teams losing.
String wins together on it for an entire season, but you think they're going to now?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. So, all right. Well, there you go. So why don't you? That'll do it for the top 5: Falcons, Saints, Seahawks, Colts, Steelers. That's it. And honorable mention Raiders. Now,
all right,
jumping into the news. Take us
news.
To
a lot of injury news. Justin Herbert had surgery on his broken finger, I think on Tuesday. Unfortunately, it means he is out for the rest of the year. As Easton Stick played last night. That's their quarterback for the last month of the season. Isaiah Pacheco had surgery, I think, on his shoulder, and they said he's going to miss Sunday's game, but should be back after that. That is a ridiculous turnaround.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Surgery. Like, especially for a running back who's going to be getting hit in that shoulder.
A guy that's going to be lowering his shoulder on every single run.
Yeah, little weird, but okay, good for him. CJ Stroud had a concussion last week. He is doubtful for Sunday. I don't think he plays, which is a shame because he's been having a great year. Tyreek Hill hurt his ankle and then came back into the game, kind of, and then celebrated in the end zone with his teammates, even though he was injured and couldn't play football. That was a real weird situation, but he's questionable for Sunday. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, both dealing with injuries for the Packers. Good. So they're questionable.
Not upset about that.
Yeah. Let the Packers lose and everyone stop pretending they're going to make the playoffs. Brandon Staley, after last night's debacle, was fired today.
Not to mention, other part of that news is not only was Brandon Staley fired, so was the GM.
Yes. Yes, they fired the GM as well. And I think also like their defensive line coach got fired too.
Dude, our friend Dave sent a joking TikTok about Bill Belichick taking over the Chargers. And it made me think, I would be so happy if that happened.
That would be pretty amazing.
I would be stoked for that. Because you imagine what Bill Belichick could do with the players on that team? Derwin
they
James,
have such a
Bosa,
talented team.
Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Man, that would be so fun to watch.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think they're definitely going to be in the running for Belichick or Harbaugh or whoever the most popular coaching candidate is. Because
the only reason I pointed out the GM being fired as well is that Belichick would want to be hired as both GM and head coach, and that's completely wide open for him right now.
That's true.
So
that's true. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then the last thing.
I'm
Sunday,
so ready to talk about this.
Yes. Patrick Mahomes throwing a little hissy fit on the sideline.
And on the field when he went and met with the Bills players. And in his press conference. And his Monday press conference. And now let's just throw in Andy Reid doing the same thing at his press conferences. And it just being the most ridiculous crying situation I've ever seen by not only a face of the league, but also one of the best coaches in the NFL. Holy crap.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Andy Reid because I've always respected him as a coach, and his response wasn't as bad as Mahomes's. It was still a kind of like a
the league should be embarrassed.
Screwed us. Yeah,
the league should be embarrassed of
that
what?
Wasn't as bad as Mahomes.
Calling actual penalties?
Yeah. But to me, that wasn't as bad as Mahomes. Like, Reed's was disappointing, because I expected more from him, but he didn't yell at referees and throw shit and then disrespect an opposing player.
Just fucking screaming in Josh Allen's head that call was bullshit, and that's the only thing you said to him.
Yeah. After how many times did Josh Allen have to go and congratulate Mahomes for beating him? And then Mahomes has to walk up and all he says is the bullshit fucking call. If I'm Josh Allen, I'm just like, okay, bro, like, what does that have to do with me? Like,
you lost. Get over it. Like,
ridiculous.
It blows my mind. First off, the press conferences talking about this call never being called. Yes, it has. And I got some newer information than what I told you. So it's been called 11 times this season. Last season it was called twice. The season before that was called once. But it's being called. And I know for a fact, I remember it because I'm watching all these games throughout the last first 2 quarters or 2/3 of the season, seeing these calls being called. Now, what I didn't quite realize is that 8 of the 11 were called on tush pushes, where the offensive line was, or not the offensive line, but the receivers were offsides. But here's the thing. That doesn't matter. If an offensive player is lining up offsides, it's offsides. Now, and Andy Reid calling it an embarrassment, acting like there are things in place so this shouldn't happen. Yeah, there are. Wide receivers. I did this in high school. You go up to the line, you check with the referee that you're onside. He says yes, you're good. If they call a penalty, then it's absolute bullshit because you checked with the referee. Andy Reid apparently thought he checked with the referee, but the tape shows that he clearly did not check with the referee if he's offsides, because obviously if he did, he would have been told he's offsides. So it's Tony's fault, not the referee's fault he was offsides, which Reid alluded to. And then on top of that, the next day, after Reid had seen that he was never checked, he's like, well, it was only a few inches, and he didn't mean to do it. To which I respond, nobody who has a penalty most of the time intends to do it. You think that the guy that's trying to hold up from hitting your quarterback but still hits you in the knees and you flop to the ground and he gets a penalty meant to do that? You think the guy that's tackling you and his hand is on your shoulder as you pull past him and his hand falls off his shoulder and grabs you on the face mask or slides across your face mask because even if you just touch it, it's a penalty? You think he means to do that? I don't care, Andy Reid, whether he meant to do it or not. It's a penalty. And for you and your star quarterback, face of the league, to go absolutely ballistic after the game because you lost it is crazy. And then it goes back to what I've always said as a Lions fan, right? Because the Lions have played so many games where they just lose it at the end. And I'm always so mad because the referees hate Detroit for whatever reason, and I always get mad at the referees. But what I always have to remind myself is that there are, 60 minutes in a football game? You played 60 minutes, and it was that close that a referee you think a referee decided it for you. Play better. Stop blaming the referees. That shit drives me crazy. And I lost so much respect for Mahomes after that game. Like, I actually enjoyed, unlike Tom Brady, where I was just like tired of seeing him, I enjoy watching Mahomes play. But now whenever I see his face, I'm going to remember that. And that's what you did by reacting the way you did. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of respect for Mahomes this season because he's constantly, especially the last couple of weeks, he's been looking to the refs expecting to get calls because he's been playing like shit, so it's the referees need to carry him. And then this was just kind of the cherry on top. Like it's not that never once did they say like, well, Tony shouldn't have been offsides and we're really annoyed that it happened. It was just the fact that the refs called the penalty. They never argued that it was a penalty because it was, and they couldn't argue that. They were just mad that the referees had the audacity to flag them because they're the Kansas City Chiefs. How dare you flag us? That's the thing that pisses me off is that that attitude of like, but we're Kansas City, like we're the darling of the NFL. We play by different rules. It's like, no, you play by the same rules, and the refs even said that Tony was lined up so far off sides that it was obvious. Like basically what they're saying was, we'll let it go, Kansas City, unless you make it so obvious that we can't. And that's exactly what happened. It was so bad that they were like, well, if we let this go, we're gonna not hear the end of it, so we have to throw a flag.
Yeah, because the Bills are gonna watch tape
before the touchdown happened. So like that's just bad luck that they got a touchdown on that play. They threw a flag as soon as the ball was snapped. Mm-hmm. If it would have been an incomplete pass, Mahomes would have shut the fuck up. Yeah. But he's just mad they took a touchdown off the board. Well, then score touchdowns on your other 58 plays that you're running. Why are you they took one off the board. Why didn't you score more?
And for the team to be the biggest recipient of calls in the last 3 to 4 years to complain about one, I'm sorry. Listen, I have no sympathy for you because I know there are several teams, especially I think there was at least one in the playoffs last year where they got a call at the end of the game that sent them to the Super Bowl, I think it was.
Well, look at the Super Bowl. The Chiefs got that pass interference and gave them a shorter field goal.
Yep.
And that was a bullshit pass interference call.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. That's what's driving me nuts about it. It's like you get these calls all the time. You didn't get one, and you're going to throw a massive fit about it. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's pathetic. But that's why honestly, like the Chiefs,
the memes.
My dream scenario would be the Chiefs like don't win their division, that the Broncos go on a tear and win that division, because I just want the Chiefs to be humbled just a little bit more. They're just so, it's getting out of hand.
Have you seen any good memes out of this? Because I've seen a bunch and they're freaking hilarious.
I've seen a bunch of like TikToks and stuff about.
I have this picture, right, and it's this car that's like, the line you stop before the crosswalk at a red light.
Yeah,
there's a car in the middle of the intersection.
Drove behind Darius Toney this morning.
That cracks me up. There have been some awesome memes about it. It's great. Only the best part that come out of it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
All right, well, let's go over Week 14. We'll start off with the Thursday night foreplay. I lost by one thing, as I always do. I don't know why we don't just do the Thursday night football 3-play so I could win it every time, but we still do 4.
And try it next week.
That fourth one always gets me. It got you too, so we both lost because Pat Fryermuth could not get 25 for you, 27 for me. He had 18 yards. We both had all the other 3. Could not get that one.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
The most hilarious part for me was the fact we both had New England in giving them points, yet they won the game.
Right. Yeah. So that one was an easy one. They just straight up won.
Pretty funny.
But yeah, and I don't know. I thought after Pittsburgh got down, I was like, all right, they should be throwing a lot, so Fryermuth should get his yardage, and then
he did. He could have.
Yeah.
He had what, 7 targets, 7 or 8 targets. He caught like 2 or 3 balls. Like, come on, dude.
Oh, that's just Mitch Trubisky not getting the ball to him.
I mean, I did manage to get my Trubisky touchdown pass, which that's the one I was worried. That was the one I was worried about.
Yeah, that was a miracle. But hey,
and you got your Ezekiel Elliott anytime touchdown to start the game, basically.
Yeah, that was easy.
So, well, we'll start off with that Patriots-Steelers game. Bailey Zappi, they got mad that I called them the worst. Well. They got mad that I called them the worst team in football. So they were going to win one.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaking loss for the Steelers. We talk about them as playoff pretenders, and that's because of games like this. Yeah. Like, can't lose to the Patriots, guys. And then they lost to the Cardinals the week before that. Like, yeah, they're crashing. Patriots, I mean, they're still going to end up with a top 3 pick unless they go on a tear here. Mm-hmm. But Zappi looked good. He also looked good for parts last year and then looked like crap. So I mean, he's got to be consistent if he actually wants to like be their quarterback next season. Otherwise,
if Belichick leaves, he will not be their quarterback next year.
No, yeah, absolutely not. I mean, they'll probably still draft one anyways. If they draft one or two, they're just going to draft a quarterback. So
yeah, a new coach there is going to want his own guy because neither of those guys are like, we got to keep these guys.
No, neither one of them is that impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Ravens. Ravens got a overtime win. Rams played very well. I mean, that was close. That was why I think they're a potential playoff team. They played the Ravens very tough, and that punt return touchdown in overtime was crazy.
Oh, that was insane. Yeah, the walk-off. Especially with how, oh man, Baltimore, or the Rams and Baltimore were going back and forth with scoring that entire second half, and it was just that was just a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was.
But I mean, Kyron Williams, 114 yards. He's been amazing since he came back from his injury. Stafford, almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. Like, they are playing very well. Just played a very good team there and had ended up with the loss. So,
yeah.
By the way, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's a tough loss for them because, I mean, they're still a game behind Seattle. So, like, they need to win most of their remaining games to get that wild card spot. But I think they can do it. They got the talent. Yeah.
I'll say another player surging is Odell Beckham, finally on the same page as Lamar Jackson, playing really well right now, which is important for them to go into playoffs with more than Zay Flowers as a target.
Yeah,
since Mark Andrews
they need more of those receivers, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Beckham. They're gonna need them all to step up.
Yep, for sure.
Panthers, Saints. Saints got the win. Panthers are the worst team in football. I mean, it's just pathetic.
Going away. Like, maybe it is not the Saints or the Patriots.
No, it's the Panthers, man. Bryce Young, I don't know if Bryce Young's ever going to develop into a quarterback. I think he might be out of the league in 3 or 4 years. Like, just
he's looking like Jamarcus Russell to me.
Yeah, he's just, except he's not even like big.
Yeah,
he's not. Jamarcus Russell was at least like large.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's just, he's like Kyler Murray, but without the good passing ability.
Yeah, like, without the accuracy.
Or even the rushing ability. Like, he doesn't even rush either.
No.
Like, he's just, It's pathetic. Like, I legitimately feel bad for the Panthers. Because they could have had CJ Stroud, but instead, like, it's just,
Mm-hmm. And other thing to note, Jimmy Graham scored another touchdown.
That's always fun to see.
That guy's still around.
Yeah, random Jimmy Graham touchdowns in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at his, so he has 3 touchdowns this season on 4 catches.
All he does is catch touchdowns.
That's right.
That is awesome. Bengals Colts. Bengals win, big win. Jake Browning, man, it's 2 games in a row. He's looked pretty dang good.
I
think the Bengals are still legitimate playoff contender. If all he does is he's like Kirk Cousins. Just get the ball to your playmakers. You know, it's not necessarily him making ridiculous throws. It's just like, oh, let me just get the ball to Joe Mixon or Jamar Chase or T. Higgins and let them do everything. Yeah, I like it.
So I'm trying to look up what the name of it is. Oh, it's the Apple Cup. This was a rematch of the Apple Cup.
Yes. Did you see that clip? The snow game?
Yeah, they showed it back. Jake Browning from Washington, right?
Yep.
Jake Browning from Washington, Minshew from Washington State played each other in college, playing each other in this game, and Washington comes away with a win. But that's kind of cool to see 2 college adversaries going back at it like this. That was fun.
Oh, especially quarterbacks, like no one thought they'd amount to anything in the NFL. Like Minshew was the butt of jokes, and I think Browning went undrafted even. So yeah, that's really cool for them. Jags, Browns. Joe Flacco leads them to a victory. Who would have thunk it?
He had a big game too.
He did. Yeah, he was. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, 3 interceptions. Probably necessarily should not have been playing on that ankle, but he kept him in it. He kept the Jaguars in it. It was a close game, but
look at these
Flacco
targets.
Playing
50 attempts for Lawrence on that ankle.
Yeah.
12 targets to Ingram, 13 to Ridley, 14 to Zay Jones. Insane.
Well, Flacco threw 45 passes. This was just a air it out.
Yeah, not a lot of running going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Evan Ingram has been all of a sudden didn't catch a touchdown all year. Now has 3 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, insane.
Bucks, Falcons. I don't even remember who won this game. Bucks did. All right, Buccaneers. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, that division is just whoever wins it.
That was actually another fun game. Because
Was
I
it? I didn't
remember
watch
I
that
was
one.
just looking at it. K. Dotton got a touchdown with 31 seconds left from a really nice pass from Baker Mayfield.
Nice.
After they had driven down the field. And this game was going back and forth. It was fun to watch. And it was fun to watch Baker lead them down and win it.
You know what I love is Desmond Ridder, 40 pass attempts, Bijan Robinson, 10 carries.
Yeah.
Which one of those is the more talented player that should have the ball in their hand?
Right? And
Not
how many
Desmond
were...
Ridder.
I'm looking, only 7 targets out of the 40.
Yeah. Like, that's one of the reasons I'm like, I don't want the Falcons to make the playoffs because I want Arthur Smith fired. So I'd rather the Bucs win that division.
Yeah.
Lions, Bears. I don't remember what happened in this game. Can you remind me?
I pretty much blurted it out of my mind, to be honest. I don't really remember anything besides it was a exact replica of the last time we played the Bears, which is exactly why I picked the Bears. So the defense sucks. Jared Goff has decided that he wants to suck too, and when your offense and your defense sucks, you kind of get screwed. 3 turnovers in the game. Imagine that. They lost. You can't have turnovers. 3 turnovers to the Bears. Almost lost to them the first time. 2 turnovers to the Packers. Lost to them. Barely beat New Orleans with 0 turnovers. 3 turnovers in this game. Lose to the Bears. You can't keep putting that on that crappy defense because that crappy defense is going to allow scoring every time. Not to mention Justin Fields. Detroit, it's like every time Aaron Glenn sees a mobile quarterback, it's like he's never seen them before. He literally saw the Bears 3 weeks ago and had the same game plan, and look what happened. You fucking sucked. Again. I don't understand why that man is still our defensive coordinator.
Hopefully he won't be after this season.
Yeah, people talking about him as a head coach candidate. I'm like, take him. Please take him. Please.
Take my wife, please.
Oh, God, he's so bad. He never does anything to change anything. It's always the same fucking script, and the same shit happens. It's like Justin Fields is going to run. We need to stop him. Guess what? Every time they even got close to him or even touched him in the background, missed tackle, he runs for 30 yards. It's so freaking frustrating.
Yeah. The thing that stands out to me is Jared Goff. For some reason, in the 2 games against the Bears, had 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like, that's just mind-boggling to me. He just, all of a sudden, he plays the Bears and, like, becomes Jamarcus Russell. Like, it's like...
He had 4 total at all before the first game against the Bears. And now in the last 4 games, he's just looked like the old Jared Goff that I hated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super freaking frustrating. I'm trying not to take all that negativity that I have currently about this team into the game tomorrow, but we're playing the Broncos, who are like surging, and the Lions, who are like tumbling like a fucking meteor out of the sky. To be excited that the Lions can win that game, especially with the rest of their schedule where I legitimately think they could lose out. We'll see what happens. Nick Mullins on the Vikings. Maybe we don't lose to the 2 games with the Vikings. I don't know. But we played Denver, Dallas, and the Vikings twice.
Yeah, the problem with I mean, the Lions, I think they'll beat the Vikings twice. I don't know. Rookie Jaron Hall, I don't know what type of quarterback he is or how good he is, but if the Vikings go back to Josh Dobbs, yeah, I could see Josh Dobbs giving them fits with his running ability.
Yeah. And if they're
then the
smart,
Broncos, I
they'll
mean,
do
Russell
that
Wilson's,
because guess what? Aaron Glenn's not going to fucking do anything about it.
Yeah. And Russell Wilson's not as mobile as he used to be, but yeah, it's concerning.
I am worried. I am officially in Detroit Lions panic mode. Because, yes,
which really sucks,
odds
because
are
if you go back,
we make the playoffs. But what are the odds we win it the way they're playing? Like,
Right.
Not good.
If you go back to before Thanksgiving, and it was like they were riding high, and then all of a sudden, yeah, the first Bears game, the Packers, the Saints game, the second Bears game, now this last month, it's like, what the fuck happened to Detroit?
Yeah.
And it's upsetting to me because they're literally the only team I had to root for at this point in the season, because for the Cardinals and Commanders, all I'm rooting for is, who are we drafting? Like, I've been in draft mode since Halloween.
I'm really hoping that tomorrow we see them turn it around. Because if not, it's going to be a not fun. I have not had fun the last month watching football, Lions football.
It's been very stressful. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the Broncos game is in Detroit. That's good. Because if it was into Denver with the added issue of the altitude, that would give me even more concern. But yeah. Let's get better. But all right. Texans, Jets. Boy, I don't know what the fuck happened in this game.
That confused the shit out of me. Ruined all my bets because I had the Texans minus 10 on most of my bets. Lost all of them.
That was CJ Stroud just I mean, I know the Jets have a very good defense, but like that was an atrocious game.
Yeah, and for everyone that I've talked to that was like, well, CJ Stroud got a concussion in that game. CJ Stroud got the concussion halfway through the fourth quarter, okay? He played bad for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, exactly. That was not the concussion. That was he was playing poorly and then unfortunately got a concussion. And then good for Zach Wilson. I mean, I'm not a Zach Wilson fan by any means, but for him to be able to come back and stick it to the Jets after they benched him for the historically worst quarterback of all time, I love it. Like, yeah, good for him to play well, get a good win. Sucks for the Texans because it's going to hurt them come wild card time, but
yeah.
Seahawks 49ers. I mean, 49ers are just probably the best team in football right now. Not much else to say about that.
They just pick a player from week to week and ride them until the end of the game. Debo in this game was the guy, and he killed the Seahawks.
Yeah. When you have that many weapons, it's basically just like, all right, who are they covering? Cool, throw it to somebody else. And then this week they'll cover Debo, and he'll throw to Ayuk or McCaffrey, and yeah, it's just Seahawks can keep rolling. Vikings Raiders, we almost had history.
One of the worst games ever.
But we almost had NFL history with a 0-0 tie going into overtime.
Yeah,
the first time since like the 50s.
3-0 final score. Terrible game. Thank God I'm not a fan of either of those teams because I was forced to watch that. At least the Bears-Lions game was exciting. Things were happening. That game had nothing.
Yeah, it was funny. I I think we were watching like Red Zone in the afternoon that game was going on, and all I was doing was checking the score to make sure it was still 0-0 because I was getting very excited about a 0-0 tie. But yeah, Vikings get the stupid win, luckily. What's next? Broncos, Chargers. Broncos, again, surging. Good win.
I mean, Justin Herbert got hurt in the game. Broncos surging. Chargers just absolute garbage. Terrible.
Yeah. Hot mess.
Yeah. When I think of all the times you tell me about how the Commanders defense doesn't live up to the hype with all the first rounders and names they have on their defense, it's the exact same for the Chargers, really.
Yeah.
Same names.
The Chargers
doing
and
nothing.
Commanders. I mean, the Chargers have had more success, but they haven't made the playoffs. And when they do, they get bounced out right away. But the Chargers are very much the Commanders of the AFC. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of names, a lot of people that look talented on paper, but because of poor coaching, they never do shit. So, But hey, the Chargers need a new coach and a new GM, and the Commanders will too. And who knows? Maybe they'll both turn their shit around.
I hope so.
I do too, because I like both of them. I mean, the Chargers I've always liked the Chargers from being in San Diego. So it's like, damn, I sure would be nice if they could get their heads out of their ass, but. Who knows? Bills, Chiefs. We touched on this with the Mahomes shit. Bills get the win. Chiefs cry and cry and cry, and I laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yep.
Eagles, Cowboys. God, the Cowboys just thrashed them.
Absolutely demolished them. As I called.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the Cowboys almost beat them the first time they played, and the Cowboys been hot lately, and yeah, they just owned Philly. I think the Cowboys could very well end up winning the division.
Yep. They're tied right now. Yeah. Cowboys 7-0 at home, by the way. That's insane. Of their 10 wins,
that's pretty crazy.
7 of them are at home. 3-3 on the road.
Yeah,
so give them a road playoff game and see how they fare.
What's next? Titans, Dolphins.
2 Monday night games that were very big surprises. Giants beating the Packers with Tommy DeVito, who is just New Yorkers are falling in love with Tommy DeVito.
Everybody's falling in love with him.
I think mostly because he's not Daniel Jones. And then that's
well, and they're winning. Like that's
true. He's a fun story for sure, and he's decent. He's got good stats. He's not playing bad. He's kind of doing like a Jake Browning on the Bengals. Only he doesn't have the talent around him. The Bengals do.
Right.
So
yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like DeVito is playing well with just a terrible team. But it was a good win. I love seeing the Packers lose, obviously. And then the Titans, the Dolphins really concerned me because I like the Dolphins.
That game was a sham for the Dolphins. Well. Like what?
Well, as soon as they lost
doing?
Tyreek Hill, it's like they just lost their minds and couldn't do anything. It was very scary.
The Dolphins, what? They blocked a punt, right? They got a fumble and then blocked a punt.
It was a muffed punt.
Okay, yeah. So they recovered a fumble, scored a touchdown. Recovered a muffed punt, scored a touchdown. Dolphins should have been done because I think that at that point there was 54. No, not 54 seconds left. When was this? There was 4 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game. You're up 27-13. Somehow, the Dolphins let Will Levis and the Titans come back and win this game.
Yeah, the Titans scored, I think, 14 points in 3 minutes. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy ending. The Dolphins, I love the Dolphins for their celebrations. And them, I think they actually, I don't know if you noticed this during the game. When they recovered that muff punt, they did the Remember the Titans dance.
No, I did not. I did not see that.
They definitely did. All of their special teams were rolling around together doing the rolling arms thing.
That's awesome.
It would have been awesome if they won the game, but I think that pissed off the Titans, and the Titans ended up winning.
Yeah, but that's why it's so awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, don't poke the bear.
Yeah, just pissing them off.
No, you don't poke the grizzly bear, but in this case, they were like okay with poking the sun bear, and for this one time, the sun bear came out swinging. So
poke the sun bear. Yeah, but no, good games though. I mean, I love the exciting finishes. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
All right, well, that'll move us into Week 15. We're going to talk about Thursday night foreplay real quick. Richie, I don't think you did one, right?
No, unfortunately, I was out of town for work and just completely forgot.
All right. Well, I had one, and it was completely screwed over by Austin Eckler, having 9 total yards when I needed to have 40 rushing yards. So, thanks, Eckler. Great job. Devontae Adams. Now, I don't blame him too much because they were being down big the entire game. So why would Eckler be rushing? But I couldn't have guessed that before the game. I would definitely not have guessed this final score. Devontae Adams, 40 plus receiving yards, had that. Las Vegas winning by 3 points or more, had that. And over 29.5 points, had that within the first quarter, I think. So all I really was looking for was Eckler to get those yards, but I knew he was never going to after the first quarter. So that was my foreplay. I got 3 out of the 4. So once again, like I said, 3 play ? This game, crazy. Let me just tell you the final score real quick. Crazy. If you have not seen it, don't know. 63-21, the Raiders won. It just seemed like every 2 or 3 minutes, something was happening where the Raiders were about to score. Muffed punts, fumbles, interceptions for touchdowns, great drives by Aiden O'Connell. It was just, that score is way closer than it should have been. I thought the Chargers were going to get shut out. Easton Stick salvages his stats by getting 3 touchdowns at the end of the game to not look terrible. When the Raiders had taken out their starting defense, because I had a side foreplay bet that had needed Spillane of the Raiders to get 7.5 tackles, which he does almost every game. And he was not on the field in the fourth quarter, so there's that. Yeah. They scored it. These garbage time, like basketball. Those 21 points were garbage time. And even in garbage time, he fumbled the ball for a touchdown, and he threw a pick 6. So, it's not like Easton Stick did great. He has decent stats, but, what a crazy
Did you see
game.
that one-handed pick 6 that the Raider got in the backfield and just grabbed it out of midair? That was amazing.
Yeah. So it was just a crazy game. If you're a Raiders fan, you were loving it, especially after they got beat 3-0 by the Vikings the week before. 0 points. They couldn't score a single point last week, and they come out with 63. It's insane.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Just so bad for the Chargers. This is the game, but I mean, this made sense. This is what needed to happen for Staley to finally be fired. So we'll see some changes for the Chargers next year.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see. I like your idea about Belichick. I don't know if the Patriots plan on firing him or if the Chargers would have to trade for him, like the Sean Payton trade. But they've got a lot of talent on the Chargers, man. They could turn around quickly with the right coach.
Yep, for sure. Going into Week 15 preview. 3 games tomorrow. You've got the games on You got the games on Sunday, and I think you still have Monday night. Yeah, you still have a Monday night game. So we got 3 more days of football starting tomorrow, and we've got predictions. Mine might be a little more true to the heart than Richie's at this point, because the Coffin Corner picks for Week 14 have me with a resounding 11-5, continuing to have double wins than losses. Just a theme of the season for me, even though last week I thought that the ones we had different were definitely going to go your way, at least more than I got right. And that was not the case because you were 4-11.
Yeah.
Quick reactions.
You've been on fire all season. All I can do is just pick separate, different from you and hope for the best.
Yeah. I got my bonus. Your bonus on the Lions. Misspent.
Damn Lions.
Well, that brings my total to 145 wins and 71 losses. That is a record I am proud of.
That's over 2/3.
Yeah, that's insane. Absolutely insane. You're still at 129-87, which is respectable as well. It's just not close currently in our fight here. But that brings me to the next point. Since it's not close currently, and it's not fun when it's not close, I have elected to give you 5 bonuses this week.
I know.
5 whole bonuses for you this week. So a little way to close the gap for you, and maybe make it a little more respectable. But
I gotta pick these smartly.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So why don't you take us through this here?
All right, so first game, starting off with the Broncos at the Lions. Lions are favored by 4.5.
And I am not picking the Lions until they win.
Ooh.
Decidedly. So I'm taking the Broncos.
All right.
I know you'll probably take the Lions, but
I mean,
can't do
that
it.
is one that if I was gonna pick, you know what? Yeah, it's in Detroit. The Lions need to win this game. So I'm gonna have some faith. I'm gonna rally. I'm gonna pick the Lions.
All right. You got the... Oh, this is you. You're introing these because I pick first.
Yes.
My bad.
Vikings at Bengals. Bengals favored by 3.
The Vikings could only score 3 points last week.
Yes.
And now they're not playing Josh Dobbs. So I'm going to take the Bengals. Jake Browning is playing clutch and he's at home.
Yeah, I can't believe this line's only 3. Are you kidding me? They're playing Nick Mullins? Like, that's stupid. All right. Steelers at Colts. Colts favored by 1.5.
Steelers have lost 2 terrible games to what? The we just talked about it. It was the Cardinals and the Patriots. Yeah. So give me the Colts at home.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett's still not back, so I'm taking the Colts too.
Gotcha.
Not trusting Trubisky. 49ers at Cardinals. 49ers by 12.
Give me the Cardinals on the points and the 49ers to win.
Oh, interesting. So you think the Cardinals at least keep it close?
I do.
All right.
They're coming off their
I'm taking the 49ers.
bye. They're coming off their bye, right? Cardinals?
Yes.
So, and they've been playing good football, so.
They have. They've been playing a lot better. That Steelers game, they looked really good. I just don't think our defense can keep up with the 49ers. But I could see, the line's 12. I think the Cardinals could keep it within 10, so that's fair. But yeah, I'm taking the 49ers. Bears at Browns. Browns by 3.
Bears at Browns. But my heart wants to pick the Bears because the Lions just played so bad against them. They must be good, right? but I'm gonna have to take Flacco and the Browns because their defense is too good. Let's see if the good Browns defense can actually stop Justin Fields from running.
The crazy thing...
Maybe Aaron Glenn will watch it for next season because he won't be fired, obviously. That'll never happen.
He should be. The crazy thing is that the Bears defense has been playing so much better ever since they traded for Montez Sweat. Like, it's crazy. But I think, like you said, the Browns defense is just too much for Chicago. So I'm going with the Browns.
Gotcha.
Buccaneers, excuse me. Buccaneers at Packers. Packers by 3.5.
That's an interesting... I really want to pick the Bucs, but I feel like the Packers at home, after a loss where they've been playing really well, that I think it's just going to be the Packers. And not to mention all the teams that besides the Vikings versus the Bengals, all the teams that are like pushing the pressure to Lions not win their division for the first time, of course they're going to win. So it'll be the Packers for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Packers. You know the NFL wants them in the playoffs, so I'm sure they'll win. Texans at Titans. Titans by 3.5.
Give me the Titans after showing some massive moxie against the Dolphins, playing a Texans team led by Davis Mills. Yay!
Yeah, that's the crappy thing. Like if CJ Stroud was playing or guaranteed to play, I'd probably pick the Texans, but I don't think he plays, so I can't take the Texans. I'll take the Titans too.
Mm-hmm.
Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins by 9.5.
Another one where I'm like, are the Jets from last week going to show up or the regular Jets? And I feel like the regular Jets are going to show up, so I'm going to take the Dolphins. Even though the Dolphins...
it'll be interesting to see if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, do the Dolphins have the same issues they did as last week?
Last week when he wasn't playing? Because they looked terrible without Tyreek Hill on the field.
They did nothing.
Which is just crazy to me because you still have Jalen Waddle, who's so good. But they weren't even throwing his way with Tyreek Hill not on the field.
Yeah, that was a painful loss for them. I don't think they're going to have another painful loss 2 weeks in a row. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Chiefs at Patriots. Chiefs by 8.
NFL makes right by their golden children, and the Chiefs win.
Oh, yeah.
With 0 penalties on the Chiefs. Crazy.
I don't think it'll go that far, but I think the Chiefs are definitely going to win. Giants and Saints. Saints by 5.5.
Call me crazy, but I'm going to pick the Giants.
All right. I don't think that's crazy. They had a good win against the Packers.
I think Tommy DeVito is a bona fide player.
He's
any man that can win with that receiving crew, being a backup quarterback, has got some moxie.
He's definitely got some moxie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll take the Saints then, just for the hell of it. Falcons at Panthers. Panthers by 3. Really?
Wait, I must have written that wrong. Hold on. Atlanta by 3.
Okay. That makes way more sense. All right. So Atlanta by 3.
Which is hilarious because I'm actually going to pick the Panthers to win this game.
All right. Get their second win.
You've picked them multiple times in the past few weeks, and I think this is the one they actually win on.
I wouldn't be surprised if Arthur Smith lost this game, but I'll take the Falcons. Gotta have something different.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders at Rams.
I'm almost giving that one to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll make it my bonus, too, just to double up.
Rams.
Yeah, Rams, obviously.
I mean, I can't pick the Commanders until they actually win a game. So, what is it? What is their?
I'm not picking the Commanders the rest of the season.
Have they won a game? They're on a 4-game losing streak. Okay.
Yeah, they're not. They're not going to win another game.
Oh no, they'll win next week. They'll beat the Jets.
No, they won't.
Yeah, I'm picking them on the Jets.
All right. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams too. Cowboys at Bills. Bills favored by 2.5.
At home, put the chip on the Bills' shoulder, being mad about people saying they shouldn't have won that game because someone was offsides. I'll give it the Bills.
Bills. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys just to have something different. The Bills should. I mean, it's in Buffalo in December. The weather. Hopefully that slows down Dallas. I want the Bills to win, but I'll take the Cowboys.
All right.
Ravens at Jags. Ravens by 3.5.
Ravens at the Jags. Is Trevor Lawrence still hobbling around? Does it matter? Give me the Ravens.
Does it?
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, the Rams played the Ravens well, but I don't think the Jaguars are as good as the Rams, despite the records. I'll take the Ravens as well.
All right.
And last one, Eagles at Seahawks. Eagles by 3 only.
Yeah. The Eagles have lost 2 in a row, right?
Is it 2 in a row? I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely
Yeah,
going
to the 49ers and Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. Teams. They need to win. They want to win. And Seattle's not that good, so.
No, Seattle's not the team to beat the Eagles. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles as well. All right, who are you going to take as your bonus?
Excuse me. For my bonus, I'm going to take the... I love that we made it under 6.5 because that makes it a more... It's a more of a challenge to pick one because I almost just said 49ers, but they're minus 12, you know? So
right, yeah.
I'm going to take the Titans as my bonus over the
Titans,
Texans. Right. I don't think Davis Mills minus Tank Dell, you know, I just don't think that the Texans are going to beat the Titans.
It's under 7, right? Under a touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 5 of them. Let's see what you got.
I know. Well, so far I got the Lions over the Broncos. I got the Falcons over the Panthers. I mean, because you're giving me that one.
Can I make a request that you don't make the Lions your bonus? Because they lost last week.
But we have it different.
Okay, fine. But if they lose, I'm blaming you.
Do you think I'm a bad luck charm? Is that why?
If they lose, it's on you and Aaron Glenn. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's fair. I will share blame with Aaron Glenn. I'm going to take the Cowboys as well because we have that one different. I'm going to take the Eagles because that line is just ridiculously low. What do I got? One more. Oh, the Rams. There you go. So Eagles, Rams, Cowboys, Lions, and Falcons. Those are my bonuses.
All right. Well, we'll see what this does to the standings next week. It'll be fun.
I'd be curious to see if you continue to get 11 or 12 right a week. I mean, I just hope you're betting them. Like, just be putting $1 on each one of your picks.
Well, I've been parlaying them, and the Texans really screwed me last week.
Did you do the round robin again?
No, I didn't do the round robin.
Oh, see, if you had done the round robin, it would have worked out.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll just round robin it this week.
There you go. All right, well, our fantasy sleepers last week, just like the picks, you had a fire week, 3-1, and I went 0-4. Just whiffed on everything.
0-4, ouch.
0-4. You had Joe Flacco.
Okay, so remember week 14 in December. There we go.
I mean, fantasy-wise, it was terrible. Yeah, it was a rough
bad
week,
picks all around for week 14 last year.
You called Joe Flacco. He was ranked 24th, finished top 5 at number 4. Very nice. I had Russell Wilson ranked 14th. He finished 17th.
Against the Chargers somehow.
Yeah. Dameon Pierce ranked 36, finished 22nd. David Montgomery in a heartbreaker. He's ranked 24th, finished 26th. And they lost that game. Both of our receivers were terrible. You had Brandon Cooks ranked 38th, finished with 5.7 points. I had Jerry Jeudy ranked 46th, finished with 3.6 points. Because it was all Cortland Sutton.
Let me just point out this Dameon Pierce quote-unquote win for his stats last week. 4 carries for 9 yards. 1 catch for -2 yards. I don't know how that's a win, but I guess I'll take it.
He was ranked 22nd.
That's insane to me. If someone played Dameon Pierce like I did, it did not feel like a win.
He didn't he didn't have a touchdown or anything?
No.
I mean, I'll look to see if I counted wrong.
Yeah, I mean, those 9 yards, I guess, is 0.9 with 1 catch, 1.9 points.
Ooh, I may have counted to Devin Singletary.
Yeah, Devin Singletary had 65 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, my bad. Dameon Pierce had 1.7 points. You do not get that win, actually.
I'm just trying to be honest. Just trying to be
Yeah.
honest here.
Wrong Houston running back. All right. Well, you still had a good week at 2-2. Where was I? Oh yeah, tight ends. Cade Otton ranked 21st. You finished tight end 19.
Which is crazy that
Harrison
a guy
Bryant.
with a touchdown only moves up 2 ranks from what he was ranked. I'll take the win though, because when he scored that touchdown to win the game for the Buccaneers, I'm like, that's my guy. I picked that guy. But apparently he didn't do much better.
Did he do anything else besides that touchdown?
No, probably not. But
Yeah.
it's a tight end. Any points are good points.
Exactly. Speaking of any points, Harrison Bryant got 0 for me after having a pretty good week 1 with Joe Flacco and then wasn't targeted. So I don't know, but yeah. So you went 2-2. I went 0-4 for the season. You got 24 right, 16 wrong, 8 ties. I have 21 right, 20 wrong, 11 ties. So who you got at quarterback this week?
I got Will Levis. After that game against the Dolphins where he just led the team back, and just watching him in that game and how hyped he was and how excited he was, and his teammates being excited with him, coaches excited with him. I'm high on Will Levis right now. And he's playing Houston, who has a bad ranking on their secondary, which is crazy to me with Jalen Petrie and the guys they got in their secondary. But yeah, Will Levis, 19th ranked versus Houston. That's who I got.
I like it. He did look good. I'm going with Jared Goff against the Broncos. Broncos pass defense not playing very well. He's ranked 17th. He's at home. He's been playing like crap. I think this is a good opportunity going into the final stretch of the season for him to get his shit right. So I think Amon-Ra, Laporta, I think the Lions are gonna have a good day.
What you're saying is you're double jinxing my Lions. Triple, because there was a bonus in there.
I am. I should have just gone with them as a receiver too, but no. If anything, too, I think this turns into a shootout. So at least he'll put up some points.
Yeah, there you go.
Running back, I've got Raheem Mostert. He's ranked 22nd, which is just stupid. He's the number 2 running back in fantasy. I know they have A-Chain as well, but
and he was just ranked. He was just ranked. Not ranked. He was just taken off the injured list, so he is healthy for the game.
And maybe that's why he was ranked lower. And I know, like, if Hill doesn't play, then it's going to be A-Chain and Mostert all day. So
but here's the thing, right? I didn't make the playoffs, and this is part of it. I have A-Chain and Mostert on one of my teams. I made the conscious decision to start A-Chain over Mostert. Mostert got most of the play, and A-Chain barely had a third of what Mostert did. So Mostert is a good pick there because it seems like the Dolphins are leaning into Mostert here at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I like it. Now, if you go on the other side of the equation, that's the running back I picked, and that's Jaylen Warren, who's ranked 29th at the Colts, because they are leaning out of Najee Harris and into Jaylen Warren, and that is why I picked him to be your running back sleeper.
All right. I like it. Receivers, I'm going with Tyler Lockett against Philly. Seattle's gonna have to throw. I think Philly is gonna try to make a statement on Monday night that they're still hot, so they're gonna run up the score. Seattle's gonna have to throw.
Yeah.
29th. So yeah, and Philly's pass defense is bad too, so they should be able to put up some yards, put up some points.
Philly's pass defense is exactly why I picked the Cowboys last week. So that.
No,
and that's what happened. So Tyler Lockett's a good pick, I think. I picked Odell Beckham Jr. because he's ranked 39th at Jacksonville, and Beckham has had 2 to 3 straight really good games for the Ravens for him to be ranked that low. So I think Odell Beckham is just gonna. Jacksonville doesn't have a good passing defense either. So that spells good things for Beckham on Sunday.
Nice. I like it. Last, my tight end, I'm going with Chigoziem Okonkwo from Tennessee. You picked Will Levis, so I'll pick the tight end. He's ranked 17th against Houston. They're bad against tight ends. Just hoping he can catch a touchdown.
And I picked Tucker Kraft, ranked 21st versus Tampa Bay, because I still have to pick a tight end.
Yep.
That's pretty much all. The only reason I picked
weeks
him.
At least.
Yeah. So there it is.
All right, there you go.
Well, that was fun, man. Doing the podcast a couple days late. I missed it. I missed the podcast.
I know. A little late. That's why I'm bummed I didn't get able to do my foreplay for last night. But schedule around the holidays is always a little crazy.
It's true. That is true. Well, everybody, if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast, we appreciate you. Whether you're doing it on YouTube at youtube.com/@Coffin Corners, or if you're doing it on all of your podcasting apps, you can find us on either of those two spots. That is where you can listen to the podcast. Watch it on YouTube, listen to it on your podcast app, whatever you choose. We appreciate your listen. And on top of that, you can follow us on X/Twitter at Coffin Corners, and you can follow us on TikTok at Coffin Corner Podcast. Richie, do you have anything else that you want to say before we get out of here?
I do not.
Maybe like a little disclaimer, like I did not choose Lions to purposely make them lose.
I am 100% not choosing them to make them lose.
Okay.
I legitimately believe in them. The problem is that my belief in a team is usually not well founded. So maybe having me on the Lion bandwagon is just a curse. We'll see tomorrow.
Oh, you know what?
I promise you this. If the Lions lose tomorrow, I won't pick them again the rest of the season.
I want to throw out, that just reminded me of something at Lions, and I looked at the Streamlabs, and I saw my picture behind me, which was prominent. The video from that picture was actually prominently figured in the thing I want to talk about. But you have not watched Bye Bye Barry yet, have you?
I have not.
Dude, it is so good. And for anyone out there that has not watched it and you're a football fan, go watch it. It is really, really good. And as much as I don't want to spoil it for you, but for Barry the way Barry answered the questions about why he retired early was really awesome. The way that he did it, I just still don't really understand fully the reasons. I don't think he said it directly. I think he left it for everyone to kind of figure out for themselves. But there were so many of them. But the way that the film crew did it with who was there and who he was talking to just made that entire documentary amazing, especially them going through Barry's career as a Lion. It was just I'm gonna watch it again. Like that's how fun it was to watch. So Richie, I'm just saying you should go check it out whenever you can. And everybody out there listening, even if you're not a Lions fan, if you're a fan of good football, My opinion is that Barry Sanders is the greatest running back that ever played among a great group of great running backs. But if you like football, you should definitely check out that documentary.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. I haven't had a chance to watch Hard Knocks with the Dolphins yet either.
Did it start? Yeah, I gotta watch that too.
Yeah.
I love Mike McDaniels. That guy I could play that guy talking to go to sleep. That's how much I love him. So, all right. Well, that's going to do this week for episode 22. We'll be back next week with episode 23. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next week, we will talk to you soon. Good luck to your teams, unless they're playing mine.